जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा। जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा। जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंदा। जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा। श्री चैतन्य मंगल की जय। श्रील लोचन दास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We are today reading from Sri Chaitanya Mangal, Balya khanda, and in that song 12. Today is session 30 of our Chaitanya Mangal reading, and it is February 20th, 2026. Song 12. So it is a song. You see, Chaitanya Mangal is written in songs. This is in Sindhuda Raga. A moon with no dark spots has risen in Nadéya. So the moon is very beautiful, but the moon of this world, of the material world, has some black spots on it. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Gauranga, is the moon who has no black spots. A moon with no dark spots has risen in Nadéya. Now I will describe a conversation of Murari Gupta and Damodar Pandit. So remember, this whole this book Sri Chaitanya Mangal is actually based on the answers given by Murari Gupta to the questions asked by Damodar Pandit. So if you remember, when we read the Sutra Khanda, there, we saw this. This point was mentioned there. So now Srila Lochandas Thakur is saying, now I will describe a conversation of Murari Gupta and Damodar Pandit. Damodar Pandit asked Murari Gupta, I would like to ask one question I have long considered in my heart. I want to ask you a question which has been in my heart for a long time. Dear Murari Gupta, this question I ask you. How did the Lord's brother Viçvarupa leave home and accept sannyas? What were the circumstances? What is the reason? What happened? Why did Lord Gauranga's brother Viçvarupa leave home and accept sannyas? How did he leave home? How did Viçvarupa leave home and accept sannyas? This is Damodar Pandit's question to Murari Gupta. This question I respectfully ask about his qualities and pastimes. So I want to know of Viçvarup's qualities and Viçvarup's pastimes. So tell me how he left home. So what was his quality? What was his state of consciousness? So I ask this respectfully. I want to know about Viçvarup's qualities and his pastimes. Then, with a happy heart, Murari Gupta replied. Murari Gupta said, please listen, listen, O Damodar, O best of the Pandits, and I will tell whatever I know. So Murari Gupta was a resident of Navadvip. Murari Gupta's residence is close to Mahaprabhu's residence in Navadvip or today's Mayapur. Even now you will see Murari Gupta's temple. It's called Ram Sita temple because Murari Gupta is Hanuman and Hanumanji is an ardent devotee of Sitaram, Lakshman. So Murari Gupta's temple has, it's called Ram Sita Mandir, and there Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed his Varaha form to Sri Murari Gupta. So Murari Gupta, being the resident of Navadvip, would know all the childhood pastimes of Mahaprabhu, his pastimes before he took sannyas. So that is why Damodar Pandit came from Jagannath Puri. Damodar Pandit is an associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri after accepting sannyas. And Mahaprabhu sent him to Navadvip to console Sachi Mata. So when he came here, he met with Murari Gupta and he's asking Murari Gupta about the early pastimes of the Lord. So he's saying, please tell me how Viçvarupa left home and accepted sannyas. I'm asking you respectfully about his qualities and pastimes. Hearing this, Murari Gupta replied, please listen, listen, O Damodar, O best of the Pandits, and I will tell whatever I know. Whatever I know, I'm going to tell you. Viçvarupa was Lord Viçvambhara's elder brother. He was the abode of transcendental virtues. How can I describe all his virtues and pastimes? So who is Viçvarupa? You see, Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra had several daughters first, but all of them died. Soon after birth, they all died. Finally, after losing many daughters, I believe 9 daughters or 8 daughters, finally they had Viçvarupa. And Viçvarupa, not finally, after Viçvarupa, then several years later, after Viçvarupa, they had Viçvambhara, Gaurang Mahaprabhu. So Viçvarupa was much older than Viçvambhara. So Viçvarupa was Lord Viçvambhara's elder brother. And who is Viçvarupa? Viçvarupa is none other than Sri Nityananda Prabhu in another body, in another form. Nityananda Prabhu only appeared as Viçvarupa. So Viçvarupa was Lord Viçvambhara's elder brother. And what are the qualities? He is the Supreme Lord. So he was an abode of transcendental virtues. So Murari Gupta is saying, how can I describe all his virtues and pastimes? In a very short time, he became learned in all the scriptures. The Lord is saying that Vedaisya sarvair ahamev vedyah vedantakrit vedavid evachaham. Vedantakrit vedavid evachaham. वेदों की रचना करने वाला भी और वेदों को जानने वाला भी मैं ही हूं. That means the Vedas are originating from me. Or you can say, yeah, the Vedas are originating from the Lord. They're coming, they are the Lord's energy. He is the source. He is the origin. And he is the knower of the Vedas also. He knows everything. He knows all the Vedas. So here, Viçvarupa is none other than the immediate expansion of Lord Krishna, the very first expansion, Balaram Tattva. So he is the Lord. He knows the Vedas. So does he have to learn them? So in his pastime as Viçvarupa, he learned the scriptures, but in a very short time, he became learned in all the scriptures. So Srila Murari Gupta is talking about the qualities of Srila Viçvarupa, and he said in a very short time, he became learned in all the scriptures. He was devoted to duty and detached from matter. A very renounced. Viçvarupa, as a young boy, he was very learned in all scriptures, completely detached from any sort of material happiness or material life, completely detached. He's detached from matter. And he was devoted to duty. He was happy at heart. This is also important. Of course, here we are talking about the Supreme Lord. But there are three modes: mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. What are the symptoms of one who is in the mode of goodness? Knowledge and happiness. Knowledge and happiness are the symptoms. From Bhagavad Gita we learn. What is that knowledge? So when you are in the mode of goodness, you realize that you're not this body, but your spirit soul. So you're situated in real knowledge. When you're in the mode of goodness, Sattvat Sanjayate Jnanam. From Sattva Guna, knowledge is born. When you are in the mode of goodness, knowledge is born. What is that knowledge? I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. And when you know that, then naturally you will not experience the miseries that are born from ignorance. What is that ignorance? Ignorance is you forget that you are this body. I'm sorry, you forget that you are spirit soul. That is ignorance. Ignorance means you forget that you are spirit soul. And this ignorance causes you to get ahankara, which makes you think that I am so and so. This is my identity. I am this body. This is my name. This is my family. This is my nation. This is my community. Like this, you get false identity as a result of ahankara. So when one is in ignorance, which is the opposite of knowledge, when one is in ignorance, what happens? You forget your true identity, that you are a spirit soul. And because of this ignorance, now the material nature gives you material identity, a false identity, ahankar. It gives you ahankar, by which you consider yourself to be this body. And what happens when you consider yourself to be this body? You enter into dualities. This is my friend, that is my enemy. I like this, I hate that. You enter into dualities. And what happens when you enter into dualities? You become fearful. You become fearful of losing your dear ones, fearful of the enemy, that he may come and plunder you. Ultimately, you become fearful of death, because you consider yourself to be this body and you are fearful of death. So one who is in ignorance is constantly living in fear. Bhayam dvitiyabhiniveshita syad ishadapetasya viparyayo asmriti. Bhayam dvitiyabhiniveshita syad. So where is the origin? How are you even covered by ignorance in the first place? You are covered by ignorance because of turning away from the absolute truth. Ishad apetasya. Right? Turning away from the absolute truth. So you turn away because of being turned away from the absolute truth. You're captured by ignorance. You're covered by ignorance. As a result of that, you forget that you are spirit soul. Because of this forgetfulness, now once again, this material energy gives you ahankara, false ego. It gives you a material body, false identity. Because of this ahankara, now you identify with yourself with the body. Because of this identification, you enter into dualities. And by entering into dualities, you're constantly living in fear. So, what is the ultimate cause of fear? Turning away from the absolute truth. And because of turning away, you're in ignorance. So, naturally, when one is not in ignorance, when is in knowledge, what happens? It has the opposite effect. When you are in knowledge, then you realize that you're not the body, but you're spirit soul. That covering of ignorance, which made you forget that you are spirit soul, that covering is removed now. That covering of ignorance is removed. Knowledge is already there with the spirit soul. What is that knowledge? That I'm spirit soul. That knowledge is there. But ignorance covers that knowledge, like you put a blanket on your head, right? Dark blanket, and you're not able to see, like that. So that covering of ignorance is causing the living entity to not realize that he is spirit soul. That knowledge, his knowledge gets covered. But when that covering of ignorance is removed, once again you have the knowledge. What is that knowledge? I am spirit soul. Then what? When you have that knowledge, you will not experience fear. Entering into identifying with the body, entering into dualities and experiencing fear will not happen. Then what will happen? When you are in knowledge, you will experience happiness. What is that happiness? Happiness of the soul. The soul also has its bliss, Atmananda. You experience that bliss of the soul. So this is for a conditioned soul. When his avidya or ignorance is lifted, then he is able to experience knowledge and also happiness or the bliss of the soul. How does one get this? When he is in the mode of goodness. So goodness, sattvat sanjayata, from the mode of goodness is born this knowledge, it is said. That means that covering of avidya is removed. Therefore, now you are experiencing the knowledge which is already there in the spirit soul. That means if one is in knowledge, he will be happy always. That's the point. Of course, here taking opportunity here, because here it is said that Srila Viçvarupa is learned and he's happy. I just explained this this phenomenon to you in the case of a conditioned soul. Viçvarupa is not a conditioned soul. Viçvarupa is the Supreme Lord. He is Sri Nityananda Prabhu in another form. But he is playing a pastime here. So he played the pastime of learning. So very quickly he learned all the scriptures and he was very duty bound. This is also an important point. Why you have to be devoted to duty? What is duty in the first place? So duty is dharma. You have your dharma. Again, this duty is not man-made duty. Duty is that which is prescribed in Shastra based on your particular nature. That is called Varnashrama Dharma. Every person has a particular psychophysical nature. And there is a particular duty, set of duties prescribed for that psychophysical nature. When you perform, when you stick to your duty or dharma, which is prescribed to you according to your nature, then you are able to tolerate the pains and pleasures that come in the course of performing your duty. And if you, while tolerating the pains and pleasures, happiness and distress, victory or defeat, loss or gain that come in the course of performing your duty, you are able to tolerate. You can tolerate because that duty is according to your psychophysical nature. So it's not too much for you to tolerate. You can tolerate it. However, what is happening here is, in addition to tolerating, if you do your duty without expecting the result, because when you do your duty, you will get result. If you do your duty without expecting your result, then that lifts you from the bodily identification. Again, this is for the conditioned soul. Why there is dharma? Dharmena hina pashubi samana. Only human beings have dharma. Animals don't have dharma. And when we say dharma, dharma is that which is prescribed by Shastra according to my psychophysical nature. That is only dharma. Not jatomat tatopat. Whatever I decide, I feel, I chalk my path myself and I follow that, and that is my dharma. No. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Dharma is given directly by the Supreme Lord. Dharma cannot be manufactured by you and me or anyone else, my grandfather or your grandfather. No. Dharma is directly given by the Supreme Lord. So dharma you will find in the Vedas. Brahmana, Kshatriya. So there is Varnashrama Dharma. There are 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas, and there is also Stri Dharma. We find all these details in the 7th canto. Srila Narad Muni is explaining all these dharmas to Yudhishthir Maharaj. This is a scientific system. So here we are reading that Srila Viçvarupa is duty bound. He was very duty bound. Again, he is the Supreme Lord. Why he has to be duty bound? Does he have any duties? Lord Krishna says, Name pathasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nana vaptam avaptavyam vartayevacha karmani. That means he's saying, Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana. I have no prescribed duty in the 3 worlds, upper, middle, lower planetary system. There is no duty which is prescribed for me because he is not part of this world. Still, I am performing my duty. Why? Because if I don't do my duty, then people will take me as an example and they will also give up their duty. Why? Because I am the leader. Yadyad acharati shreshtas tattad evetaro jana. Sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanu vartate. Whatever standards a great man sets by his example, the whole world follows that. So therefore, even though he is the Supreme Lord, he, in order to set example, he performs duty. He doesn't need duty. Duty is needed for the conditioned souls. Dharma is required for the conditioned souls. We cannot say, I will not do my dharma and I will directly without doing dharma, I will do all types of for my livelihood, I will do whatever I like without following dharma. But because I'm chanting Hare Krishna, even though I'm not following dharma, I will be fine. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. If it were like that, why the Lord is setting example of dharma? Always, every time you see, whenever the Lord comes, he's setting the example. Why the Lord is saying yadyad acharati shreshtas tattad evetaro janaha? Why he is following the dharma of a kshatriya? Why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is following the dharma of a brahmana? Why here it is said that Srila Viçvarupa is duty bound? Does he need to follow duty for himself? Similarly, when one is a pure devotee means he has pure devotees. Again, what is pure devotee? Is one who does pure devotional service. Pure devotional service means anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam, means he is performing direct devotional service to Krishna, Shravanam, Kirtanam, etc. Direct devotional service to Krishna with a favorable attitude to please Krishna, without aspiring, without having the nature of expecting anything else in return. In exchange for his devotional service to the Lord, which he is doing with a favorable attitude for his pleasure, and for how long he is doing? Anushilanam means again and again he is doing. Not only he is doing that activity, but his mood is also simply to please the Lord. His mood is not to expect anything in return. No material gain or not even liberation. I am performing devotional service, therefore I should go back to Godhead. He does not have that. So with this mood, and He's doing it again and again. Direct devotional service, Shravanam Kirtanam. Not that I finished my 16 rounds, so now I'm a pure devotee. No, he does it again and again and again and again. And his bhakti, this bhakti which he's doing, it is not interrupted by karma, jnana, yoga, sankhya, etc. It's not interrupted by anything. Continuously he's performing. This is a pure devotee. Now, such a pure devotee, does he need to follow any duties of this world? Duty of varnashrama dharma, brahmana dharma, kshatriya dharma, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas dharma. Does he have to follow? No. Because all this is karma only. He doesn't need to follow any of this. Karma and jnana. Still we see he follows. Is Yudhishthir Maharaj a pure devotee? Is Parikshit Maharaj a pure devotee? Is Prahlad Maharaj a pure devotee? They're all pure devotees. Is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur a pure devotee? Is Srila Prabhupada a pure devotee? Srivas Thakur? They're all pure devotees. Still they're following their particular dharmas. Why? Grihastha dharma they are following. Brahmanas dharma, Kshatriya dharma. Why they are following? All this happened in Kali Yuga only. Still they are following dharma. Why they are following their dharma? To set example to others. They don't need. So just like the Lord is transcendental, he doesn't need to follow varnashrama dharma, still he follows to set example to others. Similarly, even the pure devotees who have, by dint of their devotional service, what type of devotional service? Not part-time. 24/7, constantly. Either through their body, mind, or words, they're in touch with the Supreme Lord. Thinking of the Lord, chanting the Lord's names, or pushing the mission of the Lord forward continuously at every moment. And the mood is simply to please the Lord, not to expect anything in return for that service. And there is no identifying the self with this body, or feeling that if I don't do my family duties, I will get some sin. Such thought is not there. Completely sold out. At every moment, again and again and again, when one does, then that is a pure devotee. Such a pure devotee has no duties to perform. Still he performs duties. Still the point here is he does not need to follow duties for himself. He is already liberated. He doesn't need to follow. Still he follows duties to set example to others. Then we should understand those who are not pure devotees yet, those who didn't get that firm faith that I have to do only direct devotional service. I don't need to do anything else. One who didn't get such faith yet, how much that person needs to follow dharma. Because he's not doing bhakti 24 hours. He's doing a little bit. The rest of the time, he's engaging in adharma. Adharma means what? Vikarma. Vidharma. That which is not prescribed in Shastra is called vikarma. So whatever type of activity we are doing which is not directly prescribed in Shastra, prescribed to me, even some activity which is prescribed in Shastra for another person according to his nature, if I do that, that is also not acceptable. Krishna is saying, Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha, paradharmo bhayavaha. If you do another's duty, it is dangerous, Krishna is saying. Even though it's prescribed in Shastra. Just like Arjun said, now I will give up fighting and I will go begging. I will take to Brahmana's duty. Krishna did not approve that, even though Brahmana's duties are also given in Shastra. But that is not prescribed to you. You cannot do that duty. You should do what is prescribed to you. Duty is very important. And that duty has to be given as per one's psychophysical nature. That's the problem in society today. We put all our children, and even as adults, we take up jobs which don't match with our psychophysical nature. So what happens is, then we are not able to tolerate the pains and pleasures that are coming in the course of performing those duties. And also we are not able to stick to those duties. We are not doing those duties without any expectation of the result. Rather, we switch our duties based on the result. If another job fetches me more salary, more profit, I switch my business, I switch my occupation. But this type of duty, first of all, which is not prescribed in Shastra, it is not prescribed to you. And on top of that, you're doing that duty for the sake of material result, that is going to bind you. It is not going to liberate. That type of work is not going to liberate you. That type of work keeps you in the mode of passion and ignorance. That's why we were reading earlier, Sattvad Sanjayate Jnanam. From Sattva Guna, knowledge comes. Knowledge that I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. From this type of work, knowledge will not come. When you're doing work for the sake of material result, and you're doing work which is not prescribed to you, and you're doing work which is not prescribed in Shastras at all, how can we expect to be in the mode of goodness? We will be in the modes of passion and ignorance. And while staying in the modes of passion and ignorance, how can I get knowledge that I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul? Another quality of the mode of goodness, knowledge means whatever is there in the Shastra, when you hear Shastra, you can understand it as it is when you're in the mode of goodness. So it is very important for aspiring devotees to be in the mode of goodness. And to be in the mode of goodness, we must perform duties that are prescribed to us according to our psychophysical nature. Guna karma vibhagashaha. This is very important. If we lose this, this is the missing link here. If we don't do our duty according to our psychophysical nature, we will remain. On one hand, we are trying to progress in devotional service, but most of our day is spent in doing work for physical maintenance, and that work is not done according to Shastric injunction. And that work is keeping me in the modes of passion. And whatever progress I'm trying to make in devotional service, I'm not able to move forward. It is pulling me back. These modes of passion and ignorance are pulling me back. I'm not able to sustain on the platform of devotional service. Whereas if you're in the mode of goodness, it is the next door neighbor of transcendence. It is conducive. When you're in the mode of goodness, you can sit and hear Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and grasp the message as it is. But those who are in the mode of passion and ignorance, even if they hear, they don't get the message as it is. They will accept the meaning according to their conditioning. Their mind, intelligence, and senses are in the modes of passion and ignorance. Even when they hear Bhagavatam, they don't get the right message. So, being duty bound is very important for aspiring devotees. That actually helps one. And when you say duty, here duty is duty which is prescribed to you by Shastra according to your particular nature. So it's very interesting that it is said here that Srila Viçvarupa was duty bound, and he was devoted to duty, detached to matter. That will come naturally, right? If you're devoted to duty and if you do duty, that's called, actually in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains Nishkama Karma Yoga. Nishkama Karma Yoga means you're doing duty. Karma Yoga means you're doing your duty. Varnashrama Dharma you're doing. Nishkama, without expecting the result. When you do that naturally, you'll become detached from matter. Now, that doesn't mean Viçvarupa has become detached from matter because of doing duty. No. He is setting that example for the rest of the society who is attached to matter. By his personal example as a leader, he's setting an example how to become detached from matter by doing your particular prescribed duty. And he's learned in all Shastras, and he was happy at heart, is said. So this is also setting an example. Sattva sanjayate jnanam. By following your duty, you're in the mode of goodness. And then when you hear scriptures, you understand the scriptures as it is. And by that knowledge, by that realization that you're not this body, you're spirit soul, you'll become happy. And what to speak of spirit soul? You're a devotee. Jivera swarupa hoy krishnera nityadas. That's the highest. Simply realizing I'm not a body, I'm not this body, I'm soul is not sufficient. But realizing that I am a devotee of the Supreme Lord. That's the highest. So about Srila Viçvarupa, it is said, so Srila Murari Gupta is explaining to Damodar Pandit the, what do you say? Explaining to Damodar Pandit the qualities and the activities of Viçvarupa. So he's saying that Srila Viçvarupa was, in a short time, he became learned in all scriptures. He was devoted to duty and detached from matter. He was happy at heart. He was devoted to his spiritual master, the Supreme Lord, and the Brahmanas. Yes, again, setting example, he is devoted to the spiritual master, to the Supreme Lord and the Brahmanas. Namo Brahmanya Devaya, go Brahmana Hitaya. Brahmanas are dear to the Lord. So he's devoted to the Brahmanas, he's devoted to the Supreme Lord. And yasya prasadat bhagavad prasada. If the spiritual master is pleased, the Supreme Lord is pleased. So he's devoted to the spiritual master. He very affectionately served his mother and father. So these are all the qualities of Viçvarupa. He served his mother and father. Again, duty bound, right? In Varnashrama Dharma, you serve your father and mother. Setting example. He very affectionately served his mother and father. He understood the conclusion of Vedanta. What is the conclusion of Vedanta? Surrender to Krishna. He knew the secret heart of all duties, right? What is the whole purpose of doing duty? Doing your duties very nicely as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas, as a wife, as a mother. What is the purpose of doing your duty very nicely? To ultimately become free from all those duties. That is the secret. Leaving all those duties and surrendering to Krishna and performing pure unalloyed devotional service. That is the purpose of doing your duty. Doing your duties nicely is not simply to identify yourself as, this particular body. I am a Brahmana. No, that's not the idea. The secret. See, it is said he knew the secret heart of all duties. Even if you're doing your duty as a child, as a son or as a daughter, right? You're serving your parents very affectionately, very nicely, performing your duty. What is the heart at the heart of all duties? The purpose of performing your duty is to come to the position of pure unalloyed devotional service. What we are missing today is the connection between the two. We are thinking there is no connection between material duties and spiritual life. Actually, it is not like that. There is connection. And the purpose of doing your duties is to come out of those duties. So about Srila Viçvarupa, it is said he knew the secret heart of all duties. He knew that no pious deed is separate from devotional service to Lord Vishnu. So this is the connection. Everything is connected. These duties are also given in the Vedas. But what is important is you have to see who is qualified for which type of duty, and you have to do the duties as per your qualification. So the cutoff point Lord Krishna gives in Uddhav Gita, Tavat karmani kurvita. Kurvita means he has to do. He has to do. Tavat karmani kurvita. Until that time, he has to do by himself, for himself. Here, kurvita is explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as Atmanepada. Atmanepada means he has to do by himself and not for someone else, for himself. Okay? Tavat karmani kurvita. One has to do his duties. It is a must. He himself has to do his duties, and for his own deliverance, for his own sake, he has to do the duties until what time? Until he gets one of the two qualifications. Na nirvidyeta yavata, until he becomes fully detached from matter. Na nirvidyeta yavata. So he becomes fully detached. He is now qualified to give up all duties and enter into the path of Jnana Yoga. Or mat katha shravanadava shraddha yavan jayate. Until he gets shraddha in hearing Krishna Katha. Now, shraddha shouldn't be taken lightly. Oh, I got faith to hear Krishna Katha. Not for 1 hour every day, Bhagavatam class. Not sufficient. Shraddha here, Shraddha means firm faith. Shraddha Shabde Sudrida Nishchay, right? Firm faith. Shraddha is not Komal Shraddha. It's not tender faith. This is firm faith in hearing Krishna Katha. What do you mean by firm faith? Firm faith, when one gets, then he will do pure devotional service. That means again and again, he will be doing direct devotional service, like hearing and chanting Krishna's glories, names, pastimes, qualities, only for the pleasure of Krishna, without expecting any other result and without being interrupted by any bodily identification or karma which is done with bodily identification, or jnana or yoga, sankhya, not being interrupted by any of these. This type of bhakti one will be able to do when he has drida shraddha. Until you get this qualification of drida shraddha, you cannot give up doing your duties, karma. Krishna is saying in Uddhav Gita, 11th canto, 20th chapter, text 9. So, doing duties, the purpose of doing duties is to give up. But to give up, you need qualification. The qualification is, if you get drida shraddha or firm faith in the Supreme Lord and in bhakti, and I already told you what are the symptoms of one who gets firm faith. He's completely surrendered. Then, if you get such faith, you can give up. You don't need to do. But if you don't get that qualification, you have to do your duty. Tavat karmani kurvita. Duty means your dharma, varnashrama dharma has to be performed. What about after you get firm faith? You don't need to do. And you shouldn't feel the need also that, oh, I have to do my duty as a grihastha, I have to do my duty as a husband, as a father. No, you should not feel the need. My only identity is I'm simply a servant of the Supreme Lord. However, internally, while maintaining that consciousness, externally, you will still perform your duties so as not to disturb the society around you. Because seeing you as a leader, they will follow your footsteps without qualification. They don't have the qualification to give up duties. They didn't get firm faith. Then they have to do duties. But seeing you, they'll say, oh, my leader, he has given up his duties. I will also give up my duties. So therefore, after getting firm faith, while performing pure devotional service, we have so many examples in Bhagavatam. About Bharat Maharaj, it is said, he is a king, he is performing yagyas and all that. Yagya is just duty and he is doing his duties. But what continuously is chanting the names of the Lord. Not for 1 second does he stop. Shravan Kirtan. This is a pure devotee. That is the standard we are supposed to come to. Until then, we have to do our duties, varnashrama duties. And by performing varnashrama duties, we will be in the mode of goodness. Being in the mode of goodness, we are able to build our faith. How do you build your faith, by the way? Simply by being in the mode of goodness? No. While in the mode of goodness, you have to hear the glories of bhakti, the glories of Krishna, the glories of the devotees of the Lord. How the Lord protects his devotees from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And because you're already in the mode of goodness by practicing varnashrama, dharma, now when you hear, you will grasp the message as it is, and that builds your faith. And when you get firm faith in bhakti, no need to do any duties, any more duties. 24/7, you will endeavor to do only Shravanam Kirtanam. And that is our goal. We want to come there. So, important point here is to see the connection. When I don't have qualification to give up duties, I cannot artificially say, bhakti does not need any duties, so I will not do duties. Do you have the qualification to do pure devotional service? If you are not qualified, then you are bound to do your duties. You must do your duties according to your psychophysical nature as prescribed by Shastra. So here about Srila Viçvarupa, it is said, he knew the secret heart of all duties. He knew that no pious deed is separate from devotional service to Lord Vishnu. It is not separate. It's not disconnected. As per your qualification, you do your duties, and that duty, you offer it to the Lord. Because your goal is you want to come to the position of pure devotional service. He was loved. Because of this, he was loved by everyone. He was very perfect. In his heart lived renunciation, spiritual knowledge, spiritual faith, and true intelligence. He was loved by everyone. He was perfect. He was renounced. He was completely, what do you say, realized. He had all spiritual knowledge. And he had firm faith, spiritual faith. And he had the real intelligence. What is the real intelligence? You have to surrender to the Supreme Lord. So these were the qualities of Srila Viçvarupa as explained by Murari Gupta to Damodar Pandit. Then Murari Gupta goes on to explain, one day, he had a book in his left hand and he conversed with a fellow student as they walked on the royal path. So Viçvarupa is walking with his friend, a fellow student, holding a book in his left hand. And he's talking as he was walking, as they were together walking on the royal path. And Jagannath Mishra, his father, noticed him. Jagannath Mishra thought, my son is 16 years old, now in the prime of his youth. He should be married because he's very young. Again, dharma, right? He's of marriageable age and he's so handsome. He's 16 years old. So he should be married. Father Jagannath Mishra thought in his heart, I should consider what girl will be suitable for Viçvarupa. So I should start looking for a suitable girl. This is another point. Marriage is not by the girls and boys liking each other. Oh, I like you and you like me, so we will get married. That's not how it is. Marriages are arranged by the parents. This is the Vedic system. But on what basis? They will see the nature, the character of the girl and the boy, and both have to match with each other. We see in Srimad Bhagavatam, Devahuti was a yogini, Kardama Muni was a yogi. And by age, their nature, their character, their interest, everything matched. This is considered by the parents. And to check this, they take the help of astrology, the time of birth. And also, they see the family background for several generations, actually. I think they see for 7 generations or something. So it's not a one-day thing. Oh, like how they show in movies that, all of a sudden the boy sees the girl and then he just immediately gets attracted and now, we need to get married. It's not like that. Jagannath Mishra is thinking, oh, my son is 16-year-old and he needs to get married. Now I should start looking for a suitable girl for Viçvarupa. Thinking and thinking, the Brahmana Jagannath Mishra returned home. And in his heart, he was thinking of Viçvarupa's marriage. At that moment, Viçvarupa also returned. When Jagannath Mishra reached home, and he was completely lost in his thoughts about Viçvarupa's marriage. Right at that time, Viçvarupa also arrived home. The father was surprised to see him. Viçvarupa knew what was in his father's heart. Glancing at him, at his father, the great Brahmana Viçvarupa knew what his father was planning. In his heart, Viçvarupa thought, he's thinking of how to arrange my marriage. It is not right for me to marry. But if I don't marry, my mother will be very unhappy. As he thought of all this, night turned to sunrise. That means all night long, Viçvarupa was pondering on this. He didn't want to marry. He said, he thought that it is not right for me to marry. We saw he was already completely detached from matter. Again, there's one more point here. One who got, and also, one who is a pure devotee, he's not required to follow any dharma, a grihastha dharma or any dharma. He's not required. So he may follow or he may not follow. He has that liberty. That means when he follows, he will not follow for himself. Rather, he will follow to set example for others. So he is following for others' sake. And many times that duty also, he will have it done through others. For example, if a king is ruling the kingdom, and if he's a pure devotee, he can have his representatives do that work, that karma for him. Some he may do himself, but most of the work he'll have his representatives do for him, while he himself is constantly 24 hours engaged in Shravana Kirtana Bhakti. Like that. So, if a pure devotee, now you can take the example of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, they were married and they did their duties. So then, what do we have to say there? So then, because they're doing their duties, they don't have to do, still they're doing, means, that means here Viçvarupa is saying, it's not right for me to marry. But we also see devotees, pure devotees, who got married and they had families. This is really up to the pure devotee to decide what he wants to do. And whether he decides not to marry or not to do the duties, there is no fault on his part. And if he decides to do it for the sake of setting example to others, that's glorious also. However, a pure devotee will not consider that I need to do this duty for my bhakti. If he feels like that, then he is not on the platform of pure devotional service. That's the point. So here Srila Viçvarupa is thinking, it is not right for me to marry. But if I don't marry, my mother is going to become very unhappy. We saw how he is very affectionate to his father and mother also. Of course, Vaishnavas are paradukha dukhi. They don't want to give pain to others. However, it's not just a sentiment. When there is a tie between, spiritual advancement and, making others, displeasing others, obviously they will select making spiritual advancement. That should not be compromised at any time. That shouldn't be compromised. So Viçvarupa is thinking, it's not right for me to marry. But if I don't marry, my mother is going to be very unhappy. And while thinking like this, all night he was thinking, and the whole night passed. And now sun rose in the morning. Like every day, he just took a book in his left hand, did his morning rituals, and then took his book and left home. And after leaving home, he crossed the Ganga and accepted sannyas. He didn't come back. This is how Viçvarupa accepted sannyas. So today we read song 12, and in this song we saw that Damodar Pandit asked Murari Gupta to explain the qualities and activities of Viçvarupa, and Srila Murari Gupta explained how Viçvarupa was the elder brother of Viçvambhara, and he was an ocean of transcendental qualities. He was the very abode of all transcendental qualities. It's not possible to describe all his virtues and pastimes. But in short, he said that he became learned in all scriptures. He was devoted to duty and detached from matter, happy at heart, devoted to his spiritual master, to the Supreme Lord, to the Brahmanas, and very affectionately he served his parents. He understood the conclusion of Vedanta. He knew the secret of all duties, that no pious deed is separate from devotional service to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Thus, he was loved by everyone, by his behavior, by his qualities, by his activities. He was very dear to everyone. And he was perfect. He was renounced. He was completely, he had the spiritual knowledge, spiritual faith, and he had true intelligence. Then we saw how one day Jagannath Mishra, when he saw Viçvarupa walking on the path, 16-year-old Viçvarupa, very handsome, father thought he must get married and he should start looking for a suitable girl. And while walking back home, he was absorbed in this thought that I must find a suitable girl for Viçvarupa. When Viçvarupa came home, seeing his father, he understood that his father is thinking of his marriage. And Viçvarupa all night long pondered on that. So he was thinking that it's not right for me to get married. But if I don't get married, my mother will become unhappy. What should be done? And while thinking, the sun rose. And as usual, he took his books, left home. But on this day, he just crossed the Ganga, didn't return home, crossed the Ganga and accepted sannyas. So with that, we'll end today's session. In the next session, we will read Song 13. Thank you very much. Sri Caitanya Mangal ki Jai. Srila Lochan Das Thakur ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhakta